Good morning, church. I hope to encourage you through the Word of God this morning. Revelation chapter 3, verse 20 says this, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come in to him and dine with him, and he with me. To him who overcomes, I will grant to sit with me on my throne, as I also overcame and sat down with my Father on his throne. He who has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says to the churches." When I was about 10 years old, after church one Sunday, my friend invited me and another friend to go to his house and hang out for the day. And we had a ton of fun because they had the cool house. They had the pool table in their converted garage. It was just a hangout room, and they had a basketball hoop in their backyard. They even had between their houses, between the backyards, they had this little pathway that we would go and pretend like we were some kind of secret agents and climb around through there. And it was just a ton of fun. And as we were shooting hoops, his mom came out and said, "Hey, Landon, your dad's on the phone." And I thought, oh man, I have to go home. I was bummed out. And then I got on the phone with my dad and he said, "Hey, Landon, you want to go see Nip? Nip's in town." And I was like, "Oh yeah, come get me." So my dad drove up to Village, picked me up, took me over to Nip's mom's house. Now, we knocked on the door. He came out with his TV remote and took some pictures with me and Aaron. And if you don't know who Nip is, well, he's Napoleon Kaufman. When I was about 5 years old, we used to go to the Lompoc high school games at football and watch Napoleon Kaufman, the number one running back. I mean, that guy was amazing. And then he got drafted in the NFL to the Oakland Raiders, our favorite team. So, man, here's a professional football player in my parents' neighborhood at his mom's house. We're going to take the opportunity to go knock on his door and see if he'll just come take a picture with us. And he was nice enough to do that. And it was super cool. It was super exciting. And I was willing to leave my friend's house when it was something that was sad for me. I was bummed. I had to leave my friend's house. But in order to meet this guy, Napoleon Kaufman, wow, what a cool experience. But you know what's so much more awesome is that the God of the universe says, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come into him and dine with him, and he with me." The God of the universe desires to speak to us, to hang out with us, to fellowship with us. And during this difficult time, during this time of uncertainty, you know, one thing that we often say is how busy we are and how we don't have time. Well, now with social distancing, a lot of us not being able to work, hey, you might find that you have a lot of time. And I want to encourage you to open the door up to the Lord and let him come in and fellowship with you. Look, God didn't need us, but he wanted us. And he wanted us to have fellowship with us so much so that he sent his only son and to die on the cross to make a way for us to connect with him. And that's a wonderful thing. You know, and maybe right now, you just think of how can you use this, God? Or maybe you're just bored and you don't even care. Well, Jeremiah 33:3 tells us this, "Call to me, and I will answer you and show you great and mighty things which you don't know." Maybe you listened to the devotional from my dad yesterday about how he encouraged us that God works everything together for the good. And you think, how can you work this for the good? Well, go to the Lord and see in your life how he can use this, the things he wants to teach you. He says, "Call to me and I'll show you great and mighty things." You know, maybe you say, "Landon, I know that God's going to do great things, but right now it's just difficult. And I just feel alone. I'm lonely. I'm bummed out. I know he will do great things, but I'm worried. I'm bummed out." Well, if you're bummed out and you feel alone, know this. James chapter 4, verse 8 tells us, "Draw near to God, and he will draw near to you." And in the book of Hebrews, we're reminded of what the Lord had already said in the past. And in Hebrews 13:5 and 6, it says, "For he himself has said, I will never leave you nor forsake you." So we may boldly say, "The Lord is my helper. I will not fear. What can man do to me?" The Lord will draw near to you. It's a promise. So I encourage you, draw near to him. Maybe you say, Landon, I know God's working. I know God's with me. But then I start to forget a little bit in my mind. And as I'm watching the news, I start freaking out and worrying. And I'm just confused and scared. Well, 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 7 says, casting all your cares upon him because he cares for you. So I want to encourage you, church, that the Lord, our God, the maker of the heavens, the maker of the stars, the one who has healed the blind, given them sight, the one who has all power and all authority, he says, behold, I stand at the door and knock. I want to fellowship with you. And so I encourage you to fellowship with the Lord during this time. I encourage you to cast your cares on him because he cares about you. I encourage you to draw near to him because he will draw near to you. He's not going to leave you. He's not going to forsake you. The Lord is our help. And I encourage you to call out to him and he'll reveal to you wonderful things. God bless you, church. Have a great morning.